Hey everybody, John here at PT, Dan with Sandler Training. How are we, Dan?
Hey, John, doing fine, thanks.
Oh, good. Good morning, afternoon,
Yes,
evening.
thank you.
PT Ask Dan. Here we
All
go.
right.
All right. Difficult prospects.
Mm.
They come in all shapes and sizes. Um, I think most people, when they think difficult, is people that are pretty aggressive and they're pushing hard at the salesperson.
Mm.
They can be difficult in terms of non-responsive. They can be difficult not answering questions, too passive, but we all run into them. And I think there's a tough mentality at times because the phone will ring, you'll see the caller ID, and there's that, "Oh, here we go," feel for it sometimes. But I think if you get really good at managing and working through a process with difficult prospects, one, they can be very lucrative because they don't like working with most people. And two, you can get on a par with them that makes the relationship very functionable and good for both parties. But you also sometimes need to say no and just not work with them. So, talk a little bit about those difficult prospects and how to engage to get the best outcomes.
Oh man, if you're not a strong person, you cannot deal with difficult prospects. They will walk all over you. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's the first. So I would step back and go, why are they being difficult in the first place? Is it because they're just being a jerk? Is it because I'm a really bad salesperson? Or is it just who they are and they're not trying to be a jerk? They're just
Yep.
very straightforward, right? So I got to figure that out. Here's the good news. If I get them as a customer or a client, it's going to be really hard for the competition to sweep in and take them away
Yep.
because no one's going to want to deal with them. But the bad news could be that if they're difficult as a prospect, imagine what they might be like as a client. I,
Yes.
I might not want that.
Yep.
So I have three things that we should do here. Number one, be yourself. Don't bend yourself to appease a difficult prospect. Be yourself. So that comes up to point number two. If being yourself is challenging them, you need to do that. So a lot of times those types of people, nobody challenges them.
Right.
If and do it nurturingly, of course.
Yeah.
But if you challenge them, you're different. They need to know they're dealing with a player, not dealing with someone that they can be controlling. And then number three, at the end of the day, I still have to be completely true to my sales system. So, for example, and we talked about this before, but if I'm meeting with an owner early on and they say, "Hey, I need a quote from you," my sales system is no, you don't get a quote right now. You get it
Yep.
later if we
Yep.
get there. Now, I don't say that, but I have to be true to that. And that allows me to offset their firmness, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, one of the tactics I've always used is when usually it's somebody that's asking me questions, peppering me with questions, things they want to know out of the gate, that kind of behavior. And one of the things I've always done is I've always stopped to say, "Hey, we just met each other. What makes you ask that question now?"
Yep. But John,
And
doing that, you know how hard that is to do that in the heat of the battle, so to speak?
sure,
That
sure.
most people can't do that. Most people would just sit there and take and look, I remember still I was Mitsubishi. I remember I was this was oh my 15 years ago, and I was being brought in to talk to their sales VP about sales training, and this lady from HR was in there. She just started blasting me with these questions, and I'm sitting there like a good little boy, answer, 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 answer. And 45 minutes, an hour walked by, and I walked out of there with my tail between my legs and never got a piece of business from them.
Yep.
And I keep thinking back, why did that happen? Well, because I wasn't sure of who I was when I walked in.
Yeah, you weren't there yet. I
No,
get it.
I'm there now, but I wasn't there then, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, but the approach also for me goes back to where you started is why are they being like that?
Mhm.
And I've found oftentimes, probably half the time, they've come to me having been burnt by others.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily that that's even their nature. They're just upset or angry enough about their prior experiences to go at it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
Good point.
all right, everybody. See you again
Have
tomorrow.
fun with that one.